On to part three. In part three, we're getting even closer each time. I'll back up a little bit there. And I'm going to move the table around like this so you can get kind of the feel for the, put a little bit of lighting there, so now you can actually get a better look at it. I put a little bit more detail, pretty much the same thing you saw yesterday, and now what I'm doing is smoothing it out. And I'm finding that this clay is so soft that I need very little alcohol on it to smooth it. And looking at James Gregory's prosthetics, they're pretty smoothed out. He doesn't have a lot of deep furrows and wrinkles running through it. So you can actually see what I'm doing until I come over here. Kind of, you can see there too. Now the next thing I got to do after I get this all cleaned up and I put all the texture on it and everything is I need to add ears. Although they weren't really seen, they were there. And gorillas have small little ears compared to chimpanzees. I forget what the orangutan ears looked like, but they had so much long hair on the orangutans in the movie that you didn't see them. You pretty much don't see them on the gorillas either, but a little bit you did on the actual people wearing prosthetics. So, and I think, as I recall, the background masks, which some are really good and some are really, ugh, boy, were they ever bad? It's amazing they even used them, but at least that's just my opinion. They had them, because I remember, because I had some of the background masks. That stuff, you know, by the time I got to Hollywood in the early 70s, there was so much left over from Planet of the Apes, and still very good condition. It was an amazing time. It really was an amazing time to be here, to be in LA, walking through LA. This is, we're coming down to it now. I've got the lips pretty well formed, and I just kind of poked at that by hand. I'm going to have to connect clay in here once I'm happy, but I still want to be able to remove the jaw, which also, by the way, does not have any furrows or lines on it. It's just orange peeled to death. And what I'm doing now is just kind of smoothing it all down. And as I do, it's really starting to look the part. Now, let's see if I can come over here out of the camera. Oh, I can. Oh, yeah, good. And so I put a lot of furrows and a lot of wrinkles and things going on in here, but really there aren't that many, at least not on Ursus. I mean, you see them a lot on the other sculptures. And of course, there were many people sculpting these. I think Josephine Turner was an incredible sculptor. I think that was her name. And she did a lot of these. She did a lot of stuff with the Bermans and Chambers and that whole crowd. She was kind of a go-to sculptor. And I hope I'm not mixing her name up with the lady that did all the hair pieces for Planet of the Apes, which escapes me. I can't remember her name. Maybe that was Josephine Turner. Maybe somebody out there will correct me who's a real Planet of the Apes aficionado, not just somebody who worked on it. Because just because we worked on the shows and knew the people doesn't mean we know everything about it. It was our job. Or as Mike Smithson says, sorry kids, it's my job. I always loved that. He had this card when I first met him that had a little kid on it screaming for their lives. And on the card it said, sorry kids, it's my job. And Mike, I love Mike. He's just got such a great sense of humor. I like his brother Bob too. If you don't know who Mike Smithson is, then you don't know makeup very well, because he's He's one of the names out there. He's done a lot of great stuff.
Unknown caller.
Yeah, and you can remain unknown. Leave a message. We're busy, aren't we, folks? There. So that's looking really nice. And some of the lumpy, bumpy things in the clay I leave because our actual skin and features, facial features and stuff are also lumpy, bumpy, and things in nature are just that way. They're not all perfect. One of the things that I did that was just so wrong when I was starting off, and I think a lot of people did, and that is they would sculpt things too perfectly. I talked about before, too much symmetry, too much, not enough asymmetry. The sculptures are really tight looking. Always beginner sculptures, you'll see these really neat and tidy sculptures, and then another sculptor will come along and just kind of mush something out with some water-based clay that's not even refined, and it just looks right. And it's because of the asymmetry, because he was loose, he wasn't or she wasn't, tightening up and trying to make everything all perfect with just, massing it out and getting those shapes. And so you can have something unfinished that looks better than something that's finished and has more of realism to it. So, and one day that hit me. I said, well, what am I doing wrong? And that was it. So, and I come from an art family, but in my family, my dad, he was incredible. I called him the human camera, and he could draw you or anything with a pencil in very limited time, very, very, very quickly, and it would just look exactly like that person in every way, shape, and form. He was amazing. He was a really good modeler too. He used to build all kinds of car models, and he was really good at it. So I got some of that from him. I think this video today is going to be a little shorter. I have to get ready for the weekend. I got some flying to do. I'm going to be flying a twin-engine bomber, which I'm looking forward to flying. Free flight, too, not RC. Oh, there's that tool. Yeah, see? And here. Yeah. They're really good at just, this side's got the saw blade on it, and you can just really smooth stuff down with it and just really shape stuff very well. That's why I really like these tools, and they're easy to make. Just keep your bandsaw blades and any kind of saw blades that you can bend like that, and they're your best friend. So this is looking real good, and I'm going to texture pound this, and when this dries out a bit. This brush that isn't cut down scrubs it less, but it smooths it out very well. Kind of polishes it. And then the texture takes care of the rest of it. And when it's wet like this, you can go like this and take some of the stuff down, which I really need to do but again, the texture is really going to help with that. I'm very happy with this now. I wasn't before, I have to admit. Very nice. Now the light's very contrasty. I kind of put a light up, and it really helps for me to. It makes this stuff pop. If I turn that light off, it will not look. The shapes and stuff will not look as exaggerated. I'm going to sneak past the camera here. It was such a noisy place. Full of life, though, and I prefer that to the tomb of silence. So there, you can see clearly with the lighting how beautiful that looks. I mean, if I must say so myself, but I'm really just copying somebody else's work. So right now I'm being a human 3D printer. So I really can't take credit for this look because this was John Chambers, Tom Berman, yes, Tom, and a bunch of other very, very, very talented people who were miles ahead of so many people today, I think. Just they were the innovators. They were the ones that we owe the look of modern makeup effects today too, because without them, and Dick Smith did not work on Planet of the Apes, but had he, that would have been something. Now you see how the lips aren't just perfect, perfect, perfect? Well, lips aren't. In fact, I'll probably soften those up a bit with the texture, but this is looking really nice. We need to let this dry out a bit, then I can texture it. Actually, while I'm waiting for that to dry, I'm getting in here and connecting the mouth, the upper muzzle to the lower section. The way it is, as it turns out, that the general had in his prosthetic for some reason. So I'm getting in there, kind of rounding that out. And I'm doing it in sort of the picture I have of him that where he's kind of pulled his mouth a bit closed. It's and it looks just like what I'm doing right now. It's getting really loud again. Now we're going to connect this side over here too, which is a little bit more open than the other side. That's fine. Not a problem. It gives it life. And I can still sort of, kind of get in here. I'm going to use a smaller brush to get into that section in there, but I can do it, I think. I may have to invent some tools. And I'm probably going to cut this part right here where I'm blocking camera. That's the hard part, is get inside the mouth. And the prosthetics in the mold had both the upper and lower sections. And basically what they did is what I'm doing with being able to remove the jaw. And then when they had it clean enough and nice, they stuck it back and blended it in. There. So now we're pretty closed up. Smoothing out that a little bit more. God darn brushes, they lose hairs. They always have. This is not a recent development. We had the same problem way back when. They just lose hairs. Oh, we're getting louder and louder. Pretty soon the YouTube police will be attacking me and saying, you can't monetize. So, let's see. Now, the jaw has nothing but orange peel on it. So, was what I saw. Now, of course, when this is made out of rubber, I can get inside the mouth just fine. this jaw moved. I can see it's still moving on me. I can still take it off if I need to and then re-blend it back in. You see that? It keeps moving up on me. That's okay. But this is looking good. And it's almost time for lunch again. I wish I could find my other orange peel. It's better than this one. But there's something else we do too that I'll show you that's very effective. And hopefully I can find that tool that was given to me because I love them. And there it is. Kind of got a pearl handle on it. There it is. Okay, boy, these things dirty. You see that? That is, I don't know what it was originally for, but it's got these little balls on the end of it. Small one on this side, and a large one on this side. So what it's good for is this. And I will do this over this entire thing because it really has that orange peel look to it, and it's little pores that you make with the balls. Sounds like somebody's strangling a chicken over there, or maybe it's a turkey. We don't have turkeys in here, at least not those kind. You see how I can just soften that all out and blend those little creases together, and if you don't like it, if it's too big, you can just hit it like that. But it gives a really nice pore texture. So, not to bore you doing this for hours, I'm just going to show you a little bit of it and how effective it is, and then next time you see it, it will have this all over it. I use the orange peel to kind of get it moving, soften it up, pound down the clay. Then you can take your finger to it like that, see? It really makes it look like pores. And then I'll probably brush this down too a little bit, make it a little less than it is, but it just really softens and just makes everything look so darn natural. It is now lunch. You see, I can go back over it with that, and oh, this is looking nice. I get excited because, you know, I love Planet of the Apes, and I love these characters, and I love the first time I did these sculptures, they were okay. They weren't that great. Everybody thought I was a genius. You know how that is. But there was lots of room for improvement. And if they were perfect the first time, then you've got nothing to keep you going, you know. You want to improve and keep working on this stuff and keep getting better at it, and you're forever doing that. And that's probably one of the neater things about doing this kind of work. And these look so much better than the ones I did way back when. This is kind of an obsessive thing too with the texture, because it's really, the more you do, you know, it becomes very zen, and you know, you just, like I said, the more you do, finish the statement, Steve. We're not getting old. My hard drive's just getting full. I love that one. But the more you do, the more you want to do, and the more it keeps getting better and better before your very eyes, and you just don't want to stop. You'll starve to death before you'll stop, so I'm going to have to stop, unfortunately. And then that's it for the day, because then after lunch, there are other tasks and things I have to do around here. But at the rate I'm going, we should have a mask next week. You can really see how the orange peel on the lower jaw, and if you look at the general Ursus prosthetics that are on the internet that I found, you'll see it looks exactly the same, because it's what they used. It was just all kind of pore texture like that. So, okay, a few more of those, and then I'm going to stop myself. Stop! Stop me! The other thing too is if the clay is wet, like it is right now with the alcohol, this you can still do the texture. And it softens up that. Did I say it's lunch? I think I did. And you see those little, there's those little brush strokes in there, and there go whistling again. Oh God, just put me out of my misery. I'm gonna be a whistler. Say, Sam. If you're not old, you're going to love it. You're going to love getting old. Because as my doctor said to me, it beats the alternative. Now you can see how obsessive this is. And if you get it too heavy, like that's too heavy, you can take the orange peel to it and take it down. Like that. And it kind of mushes it all out, smooths it all together, and for me, it sells it. Okay, so we're going to stop there, and you can see what I'm talking about with the hair. This is hair from making masks that's floating all around the shop. So, and look, he's got a hair growing out. There. So, yes. Hope you enjoyed part 3, and that was, of course, getting the fine detail in there. There is still more to come on the fine detail. Let's see, obviously this table is moved, or the camera has. There we go. And I'll zoom a little bit too, so you can really get a good look at it. But for my eye and for what I'm looking at right now, this is looking really nice. So let's see if I can get the camera around. I'll take it off the tripod, which is always scary. And then I hit the the off button. There you go. And you get a nice look at it. You know, I love gorillas, and you know, I love Planet of the Apes gorillas. They're just so cool. It's just such a cool thing to do. You know, I highly recommend you try it. And think about it. You know, this could be easily a foam rubber prosthetic or a silicone prosthetic, and you could wear it on Halloween or just to freak out your friends and neighbors, like I used to do all the time when I was doing this stuff. I figured it'd be better to just get it off the camera and show you. So, and now I'm going to do a selfie without dropping this camera. So, I hope you enjoyed part 3. And tomorrow we'll do part 4, and we'll be sculpting ears on, adding clay to this so that it can be a mask. Again, thanks guys. Thanks for all the kind comments, all the likes, all the views. I love you guys. You're the greatest. We'll see you tomorrow.